There are three main parts that make up the leadership structure in a local church of the Nazarene. They are the church board, the pastor who sometimes works with a pastoral staff, and small teams called committees, councils, and boards. Each local church develops its own structure based on its size, ministries, and the giftedness of its people. Thus you'll find in any given local church that the names of positions and teams may be different, and that the size and responsibilities of the teams can vary widely. The structure can be very adaptable so long as accountability is maintained. This video will focus on the principles of local church structure and mention team names as provided in the manual. There are two key aspects to point out about the structure of a local Nazarene church. One is that the structure supports accountability, and the second is that the church is meant to be organized into small teams with defined roles and responsibilities. A simple way to visualize the structure is to imagine a circle divided up into different areas. For example, we'll divide the circle into the areas of evangelism and membership, education and discipleship, planning, missions, stewardship, and financial. There is a financial part of stewardship, but for the example, we'll separate them. At the center of the circle, you would have the leadership of the pastor and the church board. The relationship between the board and the pastor is well defined in the manual and is structured in such a way that there is mutual accountability and a balance of power. This relationship is also what makes the organization representative, as the board members are elected from the members of the congregation. Connected to the leadership of the church board-pastor relationship are the small teams created for each area of ministry. This creates a very effective structure where there can be focus in ministry areas without losing the connection to the overall leadership of the church. The structure also helps prevent areas of ministry from being neglected, which could affect the health of the church. In the Church of the Nazarene, the position of senior pastor can be held by either a man or a woman, and can also be shared between two people, which is called co-pastoring. The pastor is the local church's spiritual leader and advises over the evangelizing, discipling, teaching, nurturing, and the empowering of people for service that takes place within the local church. It's important to realize that the pastor is not meant to do all of the ministry in the church, but is to lead and guide others in their ministries. The pastor is also automatically a member of the church board and a member of all teams. The number of people on a church board varies from church to church. By the manual, the church board is made up of the pastor, the local president of Nazarene Youth International, NYI for short, the local superintendent of Sunday School and Discipleship Ministries International, SDMI for short, the local president of Nazarene Missions International, NMI for short, the stewards of the church, the trustees of the church, and the SDMI board when it's elected as the educational committee of the church board. The board may also have internship positions, which allow for possible future board members to learn. The board makes official decisions for the church in accordance with the manual. They also supervise and coordinate the financial side of the ministries and the programs that the church hosts. Salaried employees of the church, ordained ministers, and district licensed ministers that are not assigned by the district cannot be part of the church board, except for the pastor. This rule helps ensure that the church board represents the lay side of the church. The board elects a secretary and treasurer from the members of the church to assist the board. There can be many teams depending on the size and ministry focus of a local church. The manual lays out a set of teams and their responsibilities as a guideline for churches. Teams may have different names, and the responsibilities of each team can to an extent be consolidated into fewer teams or spread out among more, so long as accountability is maintained. The main teams defined by the manual include the local church evangelism and membership committee, the long-range planning committee, the education committee, SDMI board, NYI council, NMI committee, finance committee, a nominating committee, a stewardship committee, a financial auditing committee, and a committee to count all of the funds that are received by the church. Each local church establishes its own operating budget based on the current needs and the needs they believe their ministries will have in the future. Our people are encouraged to follow the biblical plan for financing kingdom work through the regular giving of their tithes, that is, 10% of their income, to God through the local church. In the average Church of the Nazarene, the yearly budget looks very generally like this. Giving to others, 20 to 25%. Local ministries, 50 to 60%. Buildings and properties, 20 to 25%.